You think you know everything about The Mentalist? Well, think again. This time, I'll go deep through the hidden layers of this amazing show, from behind-the-scenes secrets, rumors, unseen footage, and controversies that even the biggest fans missed. So let's start our journey at the surface. It's not a coincidence that a television show based on a psychic was so successful in the United States. These characters were a big part of American culture at the time. This is exactly what caught the attention of British screenwriter Bruno Heller, who upon moving to the country, noticed the large number of psychics and fortune tellers offering their services on practically every block. However, Heller's interest was not to glorify these fraudsters, but to leverage that cultural context to build a character who would challenge it. The protagonist had to be some kind of magician disillusioned with his own trick. Thus was born the idea of a tragic character who, instead of deceiving people, would use his keen observational abilities to help them. Even though he turned out as the perfect choice, Simon Baker didn't completely convince the producers for the show's leading role. Bruno was looking for an actor with both physical and spiritual flow, someone who embodies the classic charm of figures like Cary Grant. Bruno received a list with up to 6 candidates, including Baker, and although he wasn't immediately convinced, Simon ended up demonstrating that he possessed the combination of charisma and elegance Bruno was looking for. The script for the show's first episode contains 2 extremely interesting details. The first, which stands out for its difference, is the change in the names of almost all the characters, with the exception of Teresa, who kept her original name. Like, look at some of these names. Jane was called Daniel, and Grace was called Melody. Tell me below if you think these names are better than what we got in the final. The second observable detail in this script is the character descriptions. These texts offer clues about their personalities and past. We can see that Grace was a college valedictorian, head cheerleader, and a racing champion from Idaho. Cho came from generations of farmers in Korea, and Teresa gave up the idea of a love life or a family life to devote herself to nun-like homicide work. I wish the show explored these backstories a bit more throughout the series. Robin Tunney, at that time, was an actress with a solid previous career. She had many doubts about accepting the role in the series. Initially, she was concerned about her character's focus. As in the original script, there was a constant power struggle between Teresa and Jane. Robin met with Heller to express her concerns about the balance of roles, which led to adjustments and a rewrite of the relationship between both characters. Additionally, the actress stated that she would not accept the project if whoever played Jane wasn't someone she felt comfortable with, both personally and professionally. To everyone's relief, her chemistry with Baker wasn't a problem and was a key factor in her decision to join the show. You've seen it, I've seen it, and literally everyone remembers Jane's blue teacup. Jane's teacup became much more than a simple prop. It was a silent symbol of his routine, his control, and his character. With a classic design, this cup belongs to the iconic Fiesta Ware collection, manufactured since 1936 in the United States. Its first appearance in the series was in episode 5 of the first season, being a fleeting set detail. Later, in episode 12 of the same season, we saw it with Jane for the first time, and it gained prominence in his daily tea ritual. And if you ever wondered what type of tea Jane drank, the answer is black tea, specifically Lapsang Souchong. This tea, originating from China, is also known as Hong Cha, which in Chinese literally means red tea. A cool reference that the show used throughout the series, like each episode had some form of red or a color in it depending on the plot, and even Roy, which was Red John's alias, meant red in some languages. The car Patrick drives was literally an extension of his personality, elegant, eccentric, and timeless. It's a French Citroën DS, and the choice of this model was no coincidence. Simon Baker personally selected it because he wanted a unique vehicle for his character. Production used 2 different DS models during the first season, one manufactured in 1971, while from the second season onward, a 1972 model was used that had to be repainted since it was originally red. What a coincidence, huh? Although Heller never confirmed a direct inspiration, Red John seems to represent various American serial killers. One of the most cited is Keith Hunter Jesperson, the happy face killer. He taunted authorities and the media with letters and bathroom stall confessions signed with a smiley face, a detail that refers to Red John's iconic symbol. Bruno Heller decided to advance the resolution of the Red John arc due to pressure from Warner Brothers television executives, the company producing the series. Peter Roth, president of the organization, noted that the audience had fallen considerably during the 5th season. If they wanted to extend the series beyond a 6th season, they had to reinvent it. So faced with this scenario, the writers were forced to redefine the show's direction. The Red John story arc ended in the 8th episode of season 6. Thanks to its combination of mystery, humor, and charisma, The Mentalist gathered a massive audience worldwide, connecting with diverse demographic groups. Unusual for this type of show, The Mentalist had a lot of female fans. Simon Baker's interpretation was key. With a mix of relaxed elegance and a charming smile, Jane's character became endearing and comforting for many women. This type of emotional connection rarely occurs with police procedurals, and yet The Mentalist managed to gather a huge female fan base. And The Mentalist fandom is still very active in 2025. The dedicated subreddit has an active community with 36,000 members. They even managed to get some of the cast doing AMAs on there, which is super cool. There are countless TikTok edits being posted every day, gaining literally millions of views. Many YouTube channels, including mine, are still making content about this amazing show, even though it came out 17 years ago. Not to mention the huge fan base all over the world where The Mentalist was dubbed in their native language. I'm glad to see this show still thriving and getting the recognition it deserves. The show's international success was undeniable, but few territories embraced it with as much enthusiasm as Russia. In this country, the series achieved enormous popularity with millions of fans who loved Jane. This phenomenon was so significant that it gave rise to an official Russian-Ukrainian adaptation titled The One Who Reads Minds. This production maintained the essence of the original concept, but adapted the characters and situations to the region's cultural context. The entire series can actually be found right here on YouTube as far as I've seen, so if you're interested, give it a look. Another territory where the series had a profound impact was France. In this country, the show quickly became one of the most watched series on television, even surpassing local productions. The Mentalist ended up being watched by up to 15% of the French population. That was so huge that Simon Baker was invited to multiple French television programs, and his character achieved cult status. In the sea of fan fiction and adaptations that The Mentalist has inspired over the years, one of the most striking comes from a fan-turned-author. In 2014, David Daniel published The Mentalist Code and the Search for Red John, which was a book that proposes a provocative theory. Red John's true identity was announced from the beginning through a set of codes carefully placed throughout the episodes. Daniel, who describes himself as an authentic mentalist, argues that the series' narrative would be designed as a game of mirrors that allowed discovering the antagonist long before his on-screen revelation. This book can be found on Amazon till this day if you're interested in diving deeper. Special DVD and Blu-ray editions, which include deleted scenes and cast commentary, are really valued by collectors. I never managed to get my hands on some of these, but there are some YouTube videos as well as other sources that feature some deleted scenes, interviews with the cast, and so on. Rumors, like anywhere else, were present from day one. The departure of Amanda and Owain was a surprise during the 6th season. Although the official version indicated that their story arcs had reached their end, rumors emerged that in Amanda's case, her departure was due to tensions with the production team. In some interviews, the actress commented that everything was done somewhat on the fly, and that she hadn't received clear information about her character's future. Another rumor pointed to an alleged conflict between Owain and Tim. This was never confirmed, but this absence was seen by some as a reflection of a distancing between the actors, although no confrontation was ever made public. The romantic plot between Jane and Lisbon allegedly caused disagreements among the creative team. Initially, the characters weren't planned to end up together, but pressure from network executives supposedly pushed this decision as a narrative resource to emotionally attract the audience. Although many followers accepted the couple enthusiastically, and I myself am happy that Jane got his happy ending, certain team members considered it forced and unoriginal. During the Mentalist production, some writers allegedly proposed much darker and riskier narrative lines that delved deeper into the character's psychology and Red John's manipulative power. These ideas included even more shocking plots and irreversible decisions for the main characters. However, these initiatives were discarded due to pressure from CBS, which was the network broadcasting the series. They wanted to maintain a balanced tone between police drama and what was emotionally digestible for its audience. Before the premiere of episode 8 of the 6th season, in which Jane finally confronts Red John, there's a rumor that an unfinished version of the episode was leaked on the internet. This cut was an incomplete edit with provisional sound, unfinished effects, and still unedited voice work. It's said that this leak made the creative team very angry, although over time the existence of that material has remained either lost media or just a speculation. As far as I've managed to find, there's only been one Mentalist game, and not a single video game, which is strange since at that time, literally everything was turned into a playable game. The board game I found is called Red Moon Uprising, and it came out in 2011. It's a murder mystery board game where you'd play with your friends trying to solve a murder. Each character would get its profile with secret clues and background stories. There was also a CD included that reenacts the sounds of the murder and outlines the plot. This is insanely cool, and I wish I got it, but I couldn't find almost any info further than this. I did, however, find an eBay listing that supposedly has this game sealed to this day, and it's selling for only 22 Canadian dollars, so if you're looking to get it, better hurry up. Seeing a television character in advertisements usually generates a slightly unsettling effect, and Patrick Jane was no exception. The character appeared in a series of advertisements for the Australian bank called ANZ, where we can see him reading people while supporting the idea that the bank understands its clients' world.
You're thinking it could be doing better. You're thinking, do I have the right accounts? Am I getting the best advice? And why does this all have to be so hard?
All of these can be found on YouTube and are quite the hidden gem. The promo videos for the series showed the characters in alternative situations. Some of these can be found on YouTube, and many of them are thrilling, others intelligent, and then there are some that look like a TikTok edit. But I'd recommend you check them out either way. Out-of-character moments, whether in interviews or special events, offer a different view of the cast, and there were many of these throughout the years. These moments, sometimes funny and other times unexpected, are valuable to viewers because they allow discovering facts of the actors that don't appear in the series, like Simon Baker playing soccer at a charity event where he even kicked a penalty.
But now the Mentalist will try to outwit Jamie Theakston. Simon Baker. Saved by Jamie Theakston.
How cool is that? The earthquake that shook Japan in 2011 left a huge global shock and gave rise to numerous messages of solidarity. The Mentalist production published a support message directed to the Japanese people, where the series also had great popularity and affection. Although Simon Baker established a centered and professional public image, his personal controversies didn't escape public scrutiny. The actor was accused of not being very pleasant to work with by Jeff Kanata, who participated in the 4th episode of the 6th season. According to his account, he shared several moments with Baker during filming. However, for reasons he didn't want to go into, the protagonist's behavior didn't seem entirely professional to him. I couldn't find much about this topic, but there are some articles available if you want to read them yourself. While I don't think personal life matters when it comes to loving a character or a show, many people would disagree with me. Off the set, Baker's life went through controversial moments. In 2020, Simon separated from actress Rebecca Rigg after more than 2 decades of marriage. Sometime later, he began a relationship with a young Australian model, which sparked comments and speculation in the media. Additionally, he was arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol in 2024, an episode that called into question the reserved and balanced image he had projected for years. While these don't affect the Mentalist in any way, I decided to include them in this since many people had negative comments about it. The Red John list is a mystery as great as it is disappointing. The question of how he could obtain a list that only existed in Patrick's mind left so many fans confused and waiting for an answer. Although the fan community has elaborated more or less reasonable hypotheses, the truth is there's no official answer. Ironically, not even its own creator seems to have one. Bruno Heller has avoided answering this question and ultimately came to affirm that knowing the answer wasn't important. Despite Patrick Jane's happy ending, Simon Baker wasn't satisfied with this outcome. The actor confessed that given his character's tragic past, he would have expected a darker, more introspective, and certainly less happy ending. Additionally, Baker also felt that the revelation of Red John's identity was somewhat disappointing. According to Baker, although Sheriff Thomas McAllister fulfilled the surprise quota he expected, the figure he imagined was completely different as a result of all the mystery built throughout the series. Many fans agree with this as well, with many agreeing that the Red John arc ended in Season 3 for them. Throughout the series, Jane not only shows his rejection of all religious belief, but also of any type of spirituality, mysticism, or supernatural idea. In numerous scenes, Jane shames those who believe in the afterlife, or place their hope in God. This attitude generated debate among some sectors of the public, particularly among those who see this disrespect for faith as another way Hollywood discredits or trivializes religious values, presenting them as obsolete or naive superstitions. I think it fits his character, and we did see many characters like Grace, for an example, challenge his beliefs, as well as having Teresa, who is obviously the most religious character in the series. The Mentalist 2008 premiere not only generated good impressions, but also stirred criticism, pointing out its similarities to Psych, which was another series about a fake medium but premiered 2 years earlier. Although Psych was more comedic, many fans noticed parallels and spoke of a lack of originality in The Mentalist. Bruno Heller never directly responded to these comparisons, and I haven't watched Psych myself, so I cannot really comment much beyond this. One of the most serious cases linked to The Mentalist didn't happen on screen, but behind the cameras. In 2012, actress Chanel Howard, who had participated as a recurring extra in the series, filed a lawsuit against Warner Brothers, which is the company responsible for production. According to the legal document, Howard denounced a company employee, Lonnie Moore, for having subjected her to constant inappropriate comments and non-consensual touching while working on set. Howard assured that after filing a formal complaint, her situation on The Mentalist changed drastically. Her participation was reduced without apparent explanation. She was labeled as problematic by other colleagues, and finally stopped receiving calls to work on the series. Warner's official response was radio silence. The company didn't issue any public statements about the case, and the internal investigation, according to Howard, closed quickly. That's it for my deep dive into The Mentalist Iceberg. Thank you for watching, happy holidays, and thank you all for the amazing support that I've gotten this year. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.